Am I the asshole for leaving dinner to get my son McDonald's, even though food was served? A friend of my wife's invited my family, my wife, our son, and I over for dinner with him and his daughter. As long as we've known him, this friend has kept to a very strict diet, which has almost always led to us eating over at his place, but he is an excellent cook, so I've never minded. We have not, however, seen him since both of our children were infants. For dinner, we were served salmon with quinoa and arugula. My son is very mild for a 5-year-old. He throws tantrums very rarely and is the opposite of a picky eater, but I could tell from how he was acting that he was not vibing with this meal. He was picking at his plate, shuffling food, and while he did try the salmon, he didn't seem to like it. I asked him if he was happy with his dinner and he said no, he wasn't. I basically said, "Ha, kids, right?" and asked if there was anything else for my son to eat. My wife's friend said that his daughter just eats whatever he makes, so he doesn't keep kid food around the house. My wife said it was fine, our son would be fine. While he is a mild kid, he definitely gets hangry, and this was the beginning of our night, so we anticipated being there for an additional hour or two. I said that our son needed to eat so he'd have energy to play and apologized, saying I'd be gone for just a few minutes, picking something up for our kid. My wife's friend seemed irked, but said he'd try and keep my plate warm. I was gone for about 30 minutes, came back with a Happy Meal, ordered extra fries in case his daughter wanted any, which she was not allowed to have. By the time I was back, dinner was winding down. My son ate his meal, we had dessert, and he went off to play with his friend. It was definitely a hiccup in the night, but things went fine. We had a good time, but my wife was definitely cold with me. When we got home 3 hours after dinner, she told me that I was an ass at dinner for no reason. I pointed out that if I hadn't gotten our son dinner, he would have been a monster the entire way home, to which she replied that we would have left earlier. I said I was just looking to solve the problem as it happened, and that if her friend had been more accommodating, we wouldn't have been in the situation in the first place. She got offended on his behalf and we decided to just go to bed because we clearly were not getting anywhere. It's been 2 days since, things are still stilted between us, and I'm not sure where I went wrong. Am I the asshole for leaving dinner to get my son food, even though dinner was served? You're the asshole in the middle of eating, you left. He had some bites and could have waited 30 minutes for you and wife to finish the meal. You're the asshole, you were at dinner at friend's house. You left mid-dinner and went and got McDonald's. Not only that, but brought it back for their daughter to eat as well. You cannot be this clueless. I'm completely open-minded, but if you pulled this at my house, you wouldn't be coming back. You're the asshole. That was extremely rude, and rubbed salt in it. Bringing fries for a kid, you reasonably should know isn't allowed them. In the future you should just keep a small box of nuts, raisins, jerky, and or crackers in your vehicle or purse when going over there. You're the asshole. Kids are going to be picky eaters. But at the same time your son is going to be able to survive if he eats dinner a later than normal, and leaving to get McDonald's in the middle of a meal at someone's house is very rude. I think the hosts were odd not to come up with an apple or something. They aren't required to keep frozen nuggets on hand for kids, but surely there was something they could have offered. Completely crazy to leave during dinner, though. You're the asshole. That was really rude, especially because they had a kid and you brought an obvious treat food into the house. If your kid is picky, bring granola bars along with you or something, and if you fail to do so, just handle it as it comes the way your wife suggested. If your kid was going to be a monster, you could have left early and stopped at McDonald's on the way home. And your kid wasn't even complaining, and there was dessert coming, you way overreacted. I honestly can't believe so many people don't care if the kid eats dinner or not. My family friends would never let a kid go hungry while everyone else is fed. It doesn't really matter what was served, the kid didn't like it. There was no backup food. Like the parents didn't come with snacks. The hosts didn't have fruit or cheese. I'm really feeling like ESH. It was awkward and not ideal to leave the dinner, but you're NTA for feeding your kid dinner. Everyone else got to eat. You just kind of suck for not having any other contingency plan, as do the hosts. Not the asshole. I have never understood people who think someone should eat something they don't like or else go hungry. Yes, you're the asshole. It was rude. Part of having kids is dealing with them when they aren't getting their way. My 5-year-old gets hangry too, but we've never up and left or by dinner after someone else made us a nice meal in their home. I assume your friend wouldn't remember several years down the road if your 5-year-old had a rough time short of like breaking things or hurting the other child, but I guarantee you your friend will remember when the food they gave you was ignored so you could leave and get McDonald's. I think both parties could have planned better. Lesson learned. What kind of hosts make salmon and quinoa and arugula for a 5-year-old guest and not have a kid-friendly alternative? It's not that hard to get some Lunchables or microwave chicken nuggets. They were bad hosts. And why did your wife want your kid to go hungry? Not the asshole. ESHU for leaving mid-meal instead of later or bringing contingency snacks. They for assuming little kids would eat arugula and quinoa and not either having a kid-friendly option or letting you know the menu in advance so you could plan for this eventuality. This is why we run the menu by our guests and seek their feedback. Not the asshole. The response to this story makes absolutely no sense. I have a toddler. My wife and I eat very versatile meals and we offer the same things to our child. Sometimes she likes them, sometimes she doesn't. If she tries it and doesn't like it, fine, we find her something else to eat. My daughter gets extremely cranky if she doesn't eat, much like most toddlers. This guy took 30 minutes to save the whole night as opposed to dealing with a cranky toddler the whole time and then leaving early. I can't fathom any of my friends or family seeing that as rude. Did you not like the meal either? I'm just guessing since how you described the food and jumping up so quick to get your son food. Did you get some McDonald's too? Just curious. You're the asshole. Your kid wasn't even misbehaving. If he was, you say, hey kiddo, if you can tough it out and be on your best behavior, we'll get a happy meal on the way home. Also, I learned to love salmon as a kid. It's still my favorite food. You're the asshole. Unpopular opinion, but not the asshole. Going to McDonald's isn't a huge deal and you were barely gone. Though in the future when taking your kid to dinners I'd keep some granola bars just in case, or some fruit, or feed him a snack before you go. My parents used to tell me that I could either eat what was there or I could wait and get McDonald's on the way home. If I really didn't like it, I'd wait for McDonald's. IDK, making fish and arugula for a dinner where you're hosting a 5-year-old kid you don't know is pretty weird. Bottom line, there are two kinds of parents. Those who make kid foods for their children and those who serve the children what the adults eat. If your friends are the second type and you are the first, don't eat dinner together. Nah. Not the asshole. Honestly, you didn't do anything wrong. It was bad on the host's part not to possibly anticipate that a 5-year-old might not eat the meal offered when there is things like sensory issues and well just not liking the meal. Your son was polite in his opinion on the meal, but I have seen what a hungry 5-year is like. I wouldn't wish that upon anyone. I'm sure if the host offered your son a jam sandwich he would have accepted it. Not the asshole. The host should have had some kid-friendly options if he chooses to host a dinner for a family with kids. That was definitely a dinner geared more towards adults and with no other options. Come on. The guy kinda gave you no choice but to find a solution for your kid. Your wife is just upset because the host is her friend, so she feels some type of way obviously, but it's sad she's upset you took care of